welcome to this week's Good Work Show.
Hello.
It's a good day today. It's a thumbs up day, apparently.
It's a good day today.
It's an off-camera joke that you couldn't see.
Not to be confused with an off-color joke.
Definitely not.
Exactly.
Off-camera joke.
So those generally could go in that direction.
This was just thumbs up. That's all I was laughing at was thumbs up. Anyway, yes, we're glad to be here with you on another Sunday. It is going to be a good show because we've got some friends coming from United Way who are going to be on the show, and we know a lot about United Way.
We do.
I have more United Way T-shirts than any other T-shirts in my house.
That is so true. And the funny thing is,
all
the
colors.
United Way T-shirts, they're good shirts. Yeah. I'm good for throwing away T-shirts. I'll get rid of them. I don't really hold on to them, but then I have like this one drawer of the shirts, and especially those Christmas ones, they're so soft. I don't know where they get their shirts from, but that's not a reason to support the United Way to get a T-shirt. But if you're looking for a very basic reason, they give you good T-shirts.
I think I probably have 20.
I don't have that many.
I have like white, black, gray, navy.
You should have a red and a green one.
I have a red and a green one.
This year we have a long sleeve one.
And the long sleeve gray one.
Yeah.
I have a lot of them. But yeah, it's a collection. And I have a United Way hat that
That's an odd thing to collect, but okay.
Someone. Yeah.
That's
a lot
really
of people
nice.
Can't have United Way hats.
I know. I will say they are good about creating elusive swag.
Well, they have a whole store.
Yeah.
So I have family members and friends who work at various United Ways across the country. But they have a whole United Way store. They have all the stuff you can get. I mean, I guess Goodwill has that too, but they have some really good stuff on their store.
Yeah. So that's that. They're good at having because then you see somebody with like.
Yeah, that's why I got the hat because I'd never seen the hat. So
you're
I
kind of need that. But
to match the shirt.
United Way was
it's a whole mood.
Some pants.
I should get some pants
that say United Way down the side.
I would wear those. I would definitely wear that.
I actually really would. So United Way.
I just want mine to say "Live United" because everything else says "Live United."
Well,
so
that's what I mean. It doesn't say United. You know what I meant.
No, I didn't. I thought you meant United Way.
No, you're right. It should say "Live United."
Yeah.
But yeah, United Way was after coming to Atlanta and coming to Goodwill. United Way was one of the first other organizations that I was introduced to. So I've kind of, I don't know, just really jumped feet first into United Way of Greater Atlanta. So really excited to have Sarah come in and join us today to talk about
Sarah Freeman. She's the director of B2B marketing.
Yeah, so we'll have another marketing person here today.
Right.
But talking about the good work that they do, and some different and fun ways that you can support their efforts here in the coming months. So there's some stuff that's coming up that's traditional and some stuff that's a little untraditional, but all in good fun and for a good cause. So excited to talk to Sarah about that.
So how do you determine when you need to use un versus not or non?
Untraditional versus non-traditional?
Yeah. What is the grammar thing for that?
I think of untraditional as like if I'm doing something. To me, untraditional is kind of like a people related.
But I'm just talking about un and non or not. Period.
I know, but I'm thinking about in my head how there probably is. In my own head, I think about like non-traditional to me is like when you're describing a thing, like that's a non-traditional activity. That's a non-traditional.
But traditional
whatever.
I know.
I'm not saying it's right.
Word all the time.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying this is how it works.
I know, but how do you not use?
But I would say untraditional is like, oh, this person. I don't know because both of.
That's what I'm saying. They're both adjective. Like it's an adjective all the time.
I know, but I think of untraditional as it relates to people.
So untraditional is about people.
In my head, I think that's how I use it. Like when I flip flop. But I would say non-traditional is like a thing. Like that's a
I don't think I use untraditional. I think I always say non-traditional or not traditional. I don't think I ever use the un.
We'll have to. Generally,
there's some grammar rule to this.
I mean,
we
usually
need to have a grammarian on the show.
Somebody back here would be looking, but nobody's. Okay.
Un is reversing and non is no.
Oh, so you're changing the tradition.
You're going it back.
Okay.
Well, that makes sense, but did you look that up?
I mean,
Or
there's
you
just
a made up.
there's
thing?
other people that are in this room that you can't see or hear from that has the opportunity to look for this information, and they're just letting us flounder, and we appreciate all of them very, very much.
Yeah, somebody write into the show. Just tag
Please.
us on social media.
Or we could use them as like, you all have laptops. I think. I think that was my explosion at work last week.
Yes.
I'm asking a question. I'm like, what's the everybody in this room has a laptop. Can somebody look?
They did.
So anyway, so there's that.
Yes. And then Chris Smith is going to come on later in the show, by the way. And he's from CB Smith and Associates, CPA firm, but he's a really connected guy. So he serves on a couple of boards for some organizations in Forsyth County. And we're going to learn about what those organizations do, how they're helping with families who are facing domestic violence, and learn a little bit about financial abuse.
Yeah,
which is a lot different. Well, it's related to, but it's not what you usually think of when you hear that people are victims of domestic
Abuse.
Violence.
And so it'll make more sense that we're talking to a CPA.
Yes.
When we're
Yeah.
And somebody who's dealing with money matters. And I'm glad that he's going to be on to talk about this, because we hear, you hear about domestic violence and those kinds of things. And, people insensitive question or truly curious, well, why don't people just leave? Well, the financial aspect of that is a huge part of why people just don't leave. So
and it's a psychological thing.
Absolutely. And that's, all of those things. But one of the components to that is that if somebody may just be like, yeah, I hear you, but if I leave, I've got nowhere to go. I've got no resources. I have zero opportunities. I have zero credit. I have,
or they threaten you with
all of those things too.
Things. So you can weaponize that stuff. So
so
that is, so Chris is going to be on the show, and we're going to definitely talk about that. Talk about a lot of United Way stuff, and at some point we'll figure out the non versus
or not, because no one. So we just don't know the answer.
Well, maybe it's not meant to be known.
Maybe there is no answer.
I kind of feel like there got to be an answer, though.
I'm sure there is.
Where's Grammar Girl when you need her?
I'm sure she's at Google with all the other answers to everything else in the world. Though
Is she connected to Google?
I don't know. I don't know who you're talking about.
Grammar Girl.
I'm sorry.
Right, Rashad? Like, you don't know?
Oh, so now you're paying attention? Now you've got... So Rashad, our, fearless
he was on
digital...
Before. Rashad
was on.
You can come on again. Would you like
He's
to come
like,
around
no, I don't know that I want to come around.
Hold on.
Are you...
No one caught that.
You
didn't get that. Oh, my gosh.
You're gonna
he
want
said he was going to be Wizard Kelly. I love it.
Rashad,
No, he's being Wizard Kelly.
I don't understand what that means.
Oh, my gosh. Again.
I
with
don't.
the references.
I don't know what that means.
Trenise, you got to keep up. He's Wizard Kelly.
You repeating his name doesn't help. I'm like,
Did you ever watch The Proud Family?
No.
Okay, well then,
so
you
there
are
we
just
go.
behind the
Looks
eight
like
ball.
I need to get Disney Plus.
Yes, you do.
He's
it
like
is on there. Wizard Kelly is.
It's like the opposite of what was the guy from Home Improvement? Wilson. Was it Wilson? No.
You got the guy on the fence?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Anyway, just so you know, Rashad had on all. That's why I wanted you to come over here.
Well, we really don't actually need to see your face for that.
But yeah, okay, well. But he is wearing head to toe Goodwill. Look at this fashion right here. This is fantastic.
So speaking of.
Wait a minute, you didn't say his fashion was great.
No, it is great. It's fantastic. Love it. And
but you changed the subject really fast.
No, I'm just saying
his
that
fashion
everything
was fantastic. You're like, moving on. That's the good way to say I don't like that.
No,
outfit.
I was going to move on to was that knowing that you can get all. I was going to say that it was actually really good.
Okay.
And that because it's all at Goodwill. So I feel like we talk a lot about women's fashion finds.
But
at
the
Goodwill.
men's fashion was great.
But to me, I think that the men clean up a lot easier at our stores than.
Well, here's the deal.
Women.
Men don't cycle their clothes that often. So they have really, and they pay more for their stuff in general. So it's better quality. And then when they do give it away, it's probably not worn in as much because women wear their clothes a whole lot. So you can get stuff that's not that worn, except for shoes. Men beat up shoes. So
that is true.
But other than that,
and men's fashion really to me holds. So like everything Rashad is wearing, like I could see that tie being somebody wearing that to like a bank in couple. But I could see them wearing like that to a bank in the 80s, but it doesn't
that was in the 60s.
Okay, that too. But it
is timeless.
What's the brand on that tie, Rashad? That was the 60s. Adolfo, that could have been. But it does not look out of place here in 2020.
He's wearing it well. Yes.
And I like the way that you pulled the blue through in the jacket.
Don't try to hype up his outfit now. You didn't even like his outfit.
I tell Rashad like every day, oh, your outfit's cute.
It's cute?
I do. It is cute.
Well, anyways.
I tell Rashad that every day.
So you can, at 65 stores across North Georgia.
Soon to be 67.
Yes, that's right. You can purchase Goodwill
days
items.
Away from being 67.
Some days, yes.
Not a whole bunch of days.
Not a whole bunch, but
a few.
We have the unconfirmed number of days.
Right.
That you can buy things for. I bet you that whole outfit probably costs, $30 maybe.
No, not even. The jacket is what, $9.99?
$5
for the jacket. $2.99 for the tie.
What?
How is the shirt more than the jacket? Color of the week. What about the pants?
Okay. So he brought his own pants to the party.
That's okay.
And then he had the top
his
part.
Top half. But your top half, what is that? 5, 11, 3, less than $15.
And you can be styling like
Rashad.
Anyway, after the break, we are going to have, but in the podcast listeners have no idea
what we're talking about. But you should go on
jacket,
go on social media.
And like gingham, like striped shirt.
We'll post a picture on socials so you can see what we're talking about. So we'll
come
see
back after the break. Sarah Freeman, United Way of Greater Atlanta. You're listening to The Good Work Show.
To learn more about the show and how your company can tell their story, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter @GoodWorkShow.
Audience, welcome back to the Good Work Show. We are sitting here with Sarah Freeman, who is the Director of B2B Marketing for United Way of Greater Atlanta. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So first of all, we don't have that many marketing people on here, so let me just say thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Like we we're in the marketing team at Goodwill, but we have executive directors on, sometimes development folks. We don't get a lot of the marketing people, so I'm excited.
So this should be really great.
Fun.
This will be the best interview we ever do.
That's right. Yeah. So everybody's probably heard of United Way. I'm sure so many people are giving to the United Way in one form or another, have experienced it, but let's just give it a little education because a lot of people think they know about United Way, but they really don't know. Sure. So let's start from the beginning. Tell us about United Way and the mission.
Sure. So United Way of Greater Atlanta is the largest United Way in the United States. United Way Worldwide has United Ways throughout the world. Here in Greater Atlanta, we are concentrated and focused on child well-being in Greater Atlanta. So what that means is when the children are thriving, the communities are thriving. And we have identified different measures that within our child well-being index that help us identify the areas of Greater Atlanta that need our help the most. And that is where we are working with the partners in those neighborhoods to put the resources where they're needed. And so our child well-being movement, the goal is to increase and improve the well-being of children, 250,000 children by 2027. Yeah. We're making progress.
Yeah,
yes, we are.
And every time we hear these numbers, the progress that you guys have made in such a short, I will say because I feel like I give a lot of time, effort, and money to United Way, so I'm just going to take ownership of the success.
You are we, absolutely.
I am the we. It's always so encouraging, but to see the strides that are happening, and I think it's important for people to understand this index and how rich the data is and what you guys are looking at. It's not just kind of this fluffy thing that says we're going to make children happy. It's like zip code by zip code with very specific measures and how are the kids performing at the third grade level, and how, and we've talked on this show a lot about that third grade reading level, that third grade math level. You know, did your parents graduate from high school? Affordable housing, which we've talked about repeatedly. Poverty, all those kinds of things feed into that index. So I think it's really important that folks understand kind of the scientific nature of what makes it up.
Yes, and we use the data from Atlanta Regional Commission and the census, and we have a great partner with McKinsey who actually crunches the numbers and develops the numbers for us. And our child wellbeing heat map, which is on our website, is a great tool where you can enter in your zip code, and it drills down how well you're doing in different areas in your zip code.
And I think a lot of people will be very surprised what they find in their backyard.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of people assume, like, I see my subdivision, my neighborhood, and they think, oh, we're all good. But when they start looking at those numbers, it's an eye opener.
And it might not be your exact street, but maybe it's a street over.
That's right.
And that's very common.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about the number. Do you know that? Because I think we've heard the number, and over the past year or two, there's been a really good increase in the number, but I think we should give some perspective to that.
In 2017, it was 58.9, which is a failing grade.
Mm-hmm.
We increased to 61.8 last year.
Yes.
So we're making strides.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's an average collective. So you might go to some areas where it's 70, and you may go to some where it's, high 40s.
We have a great tool that is we can share it externally, but you can actually go in there and enter in your zip code, and it drills down the score for each item, for each measure. So third grade reading, birth rates, that sort of thing. So you may be really high in one area, but very low in the other, and that's just lets us even drill down further.
Yeah.
And I think that affordable housing piece that we've talked about on here, drives a lot, and it can see how that's impacting kids and stuff in different neighborhoods.
Yeah.
It's we have programs that address student mobility, because if you can't afford to live in a home for longer than 2 months, you're going to the next home that's offering a free rent for the month, and you're going to a new school. So there are a lot of different programs that we're addressing with those measures.
That's right. And you also have 211. So I don't think we can, especially for United Way of Greater Atlanta, we can't separate this United Way from 211 because it's the home of it.
211's a home. We actually just celebrated we're celebrating a birthday soon. Yesterday was 211 Day.
Nice.
And
it was.
We do so many. I think yesterday we talked about there are 9. Almost now, there are going to be 10 different ways people can get in touch with 211.
Fantastic.
So we're launching a new chat bot very soon. So that will be a fun thing another way for people to get in touch with us, in addition to email and phone and mail and those traditional methods.
So for those people who don't know what 211 is, you need to know. So tell them, Sarah.
Tell the people.
So 211 is a great service that you can use for a variety of things, from how I can get free tax prep to I need a place to live. I can't afford to feed my family, and we help a lot of people with mortgage and rent assistance. We help people find temporary and then more stable housing through this. It's sometimes just someone has a bad month, they may lose their job, and they just need Christmas presents for their children, and that's where 211 steps in, and that's where all of our neighborhood agency partners are coming in together to really to help these people. There's a large array of things people are calling in for. I see that utility assistance is very popular, and people don't realize that if you miss your electric bill, you're at risk of losing your home too.
That's right.
And you're making compromises. You're not feeding your child because you need to pay for electric, and you can't do that.
Yeah. So so just pick up your phone or text or email, but you just 211. It's literally like
so easy.
not 911, but 211
or 411.
When
People still use 411?
I'm not sure if it exists.
So. I have no idea. Anyway.
But or 511, which is
I use 511,
which is the traffic.
I do that one.
Yes, but yes, 211, super easy. Run right out of Atlanta and United Way of Greater Atlanta, but accessible for other people who are outside the Atlanta market.
Yes, and we're in different markets across the United States. 2-in-1 is.
Yes, yeah.
Not in every market, but most markets.
Yeah, fantastic.
And right now, there's a special code for 2-in-1. You can text 2-in-1 and find out where you can get free text prep through VITA. Mm-hmm. And there are just different things options you'll get when you text 2-in-1, so you can see the different things that are available.
And I think I'm glad that you said that about the tax prep because it is tax season.
Yes.
And folks may think maybe 2-in-1 may not. My problem isn't big enough for 2-in-1. Could be an issue, but VITA goes up to $55,000. $56,000. So if that's your income level and you're thinking, okay, I want some help to do my taxes. This is a resource that you can
not just help, free tax prep.
Free tax prep. Yeah. So unlike going through the website and
you're spending like $100 to $500 otherwise.
Yeah.
So,
or trying to do it on your own, which
I do.
Personally, I just can't do it.
It's not the
it's
best
scary
idea,
to me.
yeah.
Like I'm not the numbers. I need some help.
The one time I did pay to get my taxes done was the only year. Well, never mind. Anyway, so if you need, if you want that assistance, that's available too, and you can get connected with those resources through 2-in-1 as well. So I think all of those things is important to bring up for people to talk about what United Way is doing. But I also want to make sure that we will have time, we'll have plenty of time to talk about the ways that people can support your efforts. And I think Goodwill of North Georgia has had a very long and fruitful relationship with United Way, I think since our organization has existed, which is
I'm just going to say yes on that.
90 some odd years.
I wasn't here to validate that, but sure.
So I've been told that since our inception over 90 years ago, we've kind of been tracking along with United Way and participating and supporting. I'm proud to kind of spearhead our giving campaign for United Way within Goodwill and get people on board. We're proud of the fact that I'm just going to brag because we're the largest nonprofit giver.
Really? That's
So
we're for like 8, I don't know how many years in a row.
Great.
Yes.
I said 8, but it's probably 8. I haven't validated that either.
We have no idea.
This is the part where I don't validate. I just say things.
We'll just say things. It's been at least 5.
It's been at least 5, though.
It's been at least 5 that we've been the largest nonprofit contributor. So we're really
and we are a partner. So when you dial not 911,
don't dial 911.
211, and
do not dial 911 saying I need help with my taxes.
No, that would be bad. But
really
if you dial 211 and you are looking for an organization that can help you with job training or job placement, you might get referred back to Goodwill because we are one of the partner agencies for United Way. And we thank United Way. We not only support through our employee giving campaign back to United Way, but United Way is also a funding partner for us in some of our programs, particularly for our micro entrepreneurship program. So, yes, we have good ties with United Way for sure. Yeah,
and we're proud of that. So, there are a number of ways that people can support United Way, and there's also recognition and all kinds of things that happen when you do have that kind of support. So we have about a minute or so left before we have to take a break. But when we come back on the other side, I want to talk about some of those affinity groups and some of those things. So say you're just a purely selfish person and you're like, well, I want to give some money because it'll help me with my taxes and I can have some personal benefits from it. United Way is really one of those really great answers to both of those needs, and you're doing good, but maybe that's not your motivator.
You said you're selfish. So.
You're selfish. So
I don't think selfish people just say, I'm going to give money.
Unless you want a tax break.
There are other ways.
Well, there's that too. Well, that's true.
So I don't think,
maybe.
Yeah.
Anywho, so real quick, give us your website, and then we're going to take a break, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more.
UnitedWayAtlanta.org.
All right.
There you go.
Easy.
UnitedWayAtlanta.org. So we're talking with Sarah Freeman, who is the Director of B2B Marketing for United Way of Greater Atlanta. Stick with us. We're going to come back with a little bit more of The Good Work Show.
To learn more about the show and how your company can tell their story, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter @GoodWorkShow.
audience, welcome back to the Good Work Show. We have been chatting with Sarah Freeman, who is the Director of B2B Marketing for United Way of Greater Atlanta. Spent the first segment talking about United Way, learning a little bit about what they do, gave you all the information about 211. Well, at least not all the information, but what we knew.
Right. What we knew to be
what
true.
We knew. Sarah probably knows a lot more about 211 than we do.
We said the highlights.
We
Yes.
hit the highlights.
Yes.
That's right. And so just a reminder, if you are in need of anything that is going to help you with with things that you need or community resources, call 211 because you never know, they'll refer you to whatever the resource is. And you said 9 ways?
9 ways to communicate with
That
211.
is-
We're going on 10 with a new chatbot.
That is
Wow.
fantastic. So, I mean, that's like everything from a phone call to a text message to an email to a smoke signal. I don't know.
Social
But
media. we have letters that come in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there are tons of different ways.
Letters.
From,
Like
I
with
learned
a
from
stamp?
inmates, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because we have our
Okay,
you know,
that makes sense.
no,
our
no, no.
transition programs. Yeah.
I know, but I'm just thinking like with a stamp.
Snail mail.
In
Yeah,
a
well, how else
mailbox.
are you going to mail it?
I don't know, but
I
I'm
think
just
you
like
have to have a stamp these
I'm
days
just-
still.
I
It's
know,
still a
but I'm
thing.
just like, wow, a letter.
Yeah, some people still mail stuff.
Well, if you're incarcerated.
Absolutely. You
Or
might.
thank you cards.
Or
Yes,
thank you cards.
that's right.
That I do send in the mail
Yes.
with a stamp.
I would hope so.
Yes, because if not,
it's
it's not getting there.
No, thank you. Okay, so Sarah, back about United Way. So we talked about the Child Wellbeing Index and some of the measures. There are 14, I believe, that kind of make up that score. So lots of different things. But before we took a break, we were talking about lots of ways for people to get involved. And United Way they're doing so much work. Supporting so many other nonprofits, but it takes a lot of funds to do that. And so there are needs for United Way to continue to fundraise, to continue doing the work that they're doing. So talk to us about the ways that people can plug in some of the fundraisers that you have, because there's quite a few that are coming up, and they're all year long.
Yes, we have events all year round. So we have different affinity groups for different groups, different interest groups, ages. So if you're either in a workplace that has United Way campaigns or outside the workplace, and you want to give back and meet others with similar, interests and likes and desires as you, there's a great opportunity to do that. And the link is our under 30s or 30 and under, and then YPL or Young Professional Leaders is 40 and under, and then we have Coal Society, which is just a giving amounts, and then we have a couple of other higher giving affinity groups. One of our most popular ones is African American Partnership, and they always have amazing events every year. There's an event coming up on February 29th. It's a luncheon, so please take a look at our website for that. And we also have a really strong women's group through our Coal Society and Tocqueville Society, and our women's leadership breakfast is always really great too. And then we have our YPL, which is our YPL Gala coming up in May, and our we have so many different events. I definitely, if you're interested, go to our website unitedwayatlanta.org and events, and you'll see everything we have going on.
And I think it's one of those things where it's kind of easy to be able to do this. So like I said, I do this for Goodwill. It's like, I don't know, $20, $30 a pay period, that you're doing if you do it through your employee gift or that kind of stuff, you have employee giving campaign. And then all of a sudden you find yourself, I'm like, oh, I'm eligible for this. And then you can go to these events. And my thing is going not just to the events, but I also love the opportunities to volunteer. And that's one of the things that I think is really great that United Way just is really good at, is creating opportunities for people to literally go get their hands dirty in the community and participate. Elaine and I have been doing the free Bikes for Kids bike
Well, I did
giveaway.
Bikes for Kids once.
Oh, that's
I
right.
missed out on the gift wrapping thing because that's my favorite one.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
the holiday gift wrap thing. So wrapping the gifts for those who are victims of human trafficking, and Delta usually has a big part in that. So shout out to your partners at Delta for doing
Delta
that.
does
This is
a
great.
lot of volunteer work with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
And then I do the free, personally, I do. I forgot that you hadn't been coming with me to that. But yeah. Doing, working with that organization and doing the bike giveaways for Christmas. But then also you guys do a lot for MLK Day of Service. And then just throughout the year having a lot of ways that people can personally connect with the community. And I think that is one of the, aside from everything else, it's just one of the greatest benefits that people get to learn about different organizations, see the work that they're doing, and then have an opportunity to personally tie themselves to it.
And it's something that people don't know, that we do so much volunteerism. We have a fantastic volunteer department, and we're not only doing community events, but also corporate events. So we work with large companies and small companies that just want to get their employees engaged and out there doing things to help our community improve.
Yeah.
So
you do have something else coming up. So interestingly enough, you have some people who are going to go off the side of a building. So tell us a little bit about that, because I saw it and I was like, yes, this is something that I would want to do. So I have to figure out how we can make that work.
So it's called Over the Edge, and it's a Canadian company that has been doing this for years, helping nonprofits like United Way of Greater Atlanta fundraise by having rappellers. People that are going to rappel off the side of the building, raise money for their cause. Special Olympics of Georgia has done it in Atlanta at least a couple of times. And I've, besides them, I'm not really sure the other organizations that have done it here, but we have in the past known that they did it off this building that we're using. So
what building is it?
Our old building, 100 Edgewood, the old Woodruff Service Center, Volunteer Service Center.
I just needed to know in my head as I try to mentally prepare for this.
So yeah, it's 17 stories on the corner of Edgewood and Peachtree Center Avenue in downtown. So it's very safe. 76 rappellers will go down on April 29th between 9 and 5. We'll have a ground party on the floor, down, food, music, games, and right now we're seeking rappellers. We have some people already committed. Our CEO Milton Little, our CIO, our CMO, and we have our affinity groups have someone representing from YPL, someone from Link. We have some football players that are interested, retired football players that we made friends with last year.
I can't imagine that the NFL is going to let their But I don't think that fits in your contract.
We made friends last year at our Super Bowl experience exhibit, and I reached out to some players, and they're interested. So they're like ex-Falcons players, which are it's fun for them. And, we are looking for sponsors, which is a low cost of entry. Most of our events have a little bit higher cost of entry. It's $2,500 at our lowest cost for sponsorship, and it includes one rappel spot. So it's a pretty good deal, and you get lots of exposure. And we're also looking for volunteers for the ground party, for the registration. There's even going to be a volunteer that walks people, takes them to the elevator to the rooftop. We need rope volunteers, which are people that the experience is not required, but I really would love.
Highly encouraged.
I would appreciate if the volunteers would that have anything to do with the ropes.
Unless you're a ropes master, then yes, I do want you on the ropes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I want anybody touching the ropes. I want you to be
having some experience.
Yeah.
So we've been talking to rock climbing gyms.
Yes.
And people that have. Firemen apparently have like
yes, they do. Yes. Because they go down. That's part of the training. So, I learned that.
And they have a good shift
that's right.
Off. So hopefully we can get in touch with firemen that are interested in helping us out. So we have 12 spots open for that position, and they all get to rappel down the building and help people be safe, and it's really it'll be fun. I think that's going to be the most fun job if you have the experience doing that.
Yeah. Are you going?
I'm not going to go down.
Not this time. But your CMO is going to go. So.
Yeah, she's going down.
Yes. Yeah.
Liz Ward's going down.
Cool. And shout out to Sarah C. By the way, she's your CIO. She's my Leadership Atlanta classmate. I love Sarah.
She's already raised money for it too.
Knowing Sarah, I know that she already has. She's wonderful. So
oh, sorry.
I was going to say, so what else? So tell us more about United Way, something that we haven't
Well, the
asked.
other one thing I wanted to make sure that, because we kind of glossed over a little bit, we're talking about YPL, is at the gala, the name just flew out of my head. I just literally got an email saying, tickets are available. So
the gala,
in May. Yes. Yeah. So that's available as well.
So that's actually the same week as this,
later
in the week. And we actually have a sponsorship level that our highest sponsorship level, we actually are also a YPL sponsor as well if you go in at 15,000.
Okay.
So, all right. That's a good amount for somebody who's looking for both. You get to do both.
And that is my favorite hands down fundraiser event that I go to every year. It is the best. So
it's great networking. All the law firms are there and all types of just people from great organizations.
It's a good see and be seen crowd. So you might want to think about doing that one too. And if you're not into throwing yourself off the side of a building downtown Atlanta. So there's that.
And we also, so you can choose a rappel, but you can also raise money to toss your boss.
Oh, okay.
So people can raise money
without the rope or with the rope. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
And we're also having an option to be grounded because you're too grounded to go over that.
Oh.
So
how much do you have to pay to be grounded?
It's still the same fundraising.
Okay. I feel like you should have to pay a little bit extra to be grounded. Like you should raise it and then an additional 500.
To be able
not do it.
Because then you delegate.
Yes, of course.
Right. So.
Okay. So we've got just a couple seconds left. Anything else that we should know about United Way?
Well, we'll say Forever the Edge to learn more on our website. It's unitedwayatlanta.org/over the edge.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Sarah, for coming on
for having me.
And talking to us about United Way, sharing with the audience. So again, check out their website. Of course, they're on all the social media. Check out some of the events because there's lots of opportunities for you to plug in, and then really just make it easy on yourself and just do your your giving through your paycheck. It's super easy to do that for United Way. You'll be supporting them and in turn supporting others in your community, but also some of your favorite nonprofits too. So anyway, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Ladies.
Absolutely.
You're listening to The Good Work Show.
To learn more about the show and how your company can tell their story, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter @GoodWorkShow.
Audience, welcome back to The Good Work Show. We are on the line with Chris Smith, who is the owner and CPA for CB Smith and Associates. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us all about CB Smith and Associates and what you do for the community.
Yes, we're a Georgia-based CPA firm. We got offices in Cumming, Macon, and in the Lake Oconee area. And we provide financial advisory, business advisory services to our clients. And of course, we're extremely busy this time of year with tax preparation, tax planning services that we're providing to our clients and their businesses throughout the year. We like to tout that we provide big firm expertise with a small town feel.
That's fantastic, and thanks for taking this time because we know this is your high season, so I imagine every minute is accounted for. No pun intended.
Yeah, I've blocked off my office right now.
Okay, right. So talk to us a little bit about, you sit on the board of directors for the Forsyth Family Haven. So tell us a little bit about the organization and what they're actually doing in the community.
Oh, it's a great organization. I think it's been in the community for they're coming up on 30 years at this point in time, they provide a vital service to folks in the North Fulton, Forsyth County, Dawson, Cherokee County, even Hall County a little bit. That's their kind of the service area, and their domestic violence shelter. But more importantly than that, they're very focused in on education about domestic violence. Educating our children about domestic violence and how it can really turn into a cancer in our society. And so it's an organization that really focuses in that area to hopefully at one point in time have a goal of not having the need for a shelter. But in the meantime, they do provide a shelter for victims of domestic violence and their children and help them hopefully turn their lives around.
Yeah, that's great work, and definitely so glad that Forsyth Community Family Haven is doing that work. And you talk about domestic violence, but there's also different forms of domestic violence, and you being sort of in the financial space, tell us about financial abuse, because I think that's one, when you hear domestic violence, you don't normally think about that. Most people think about physical violence, or maybe even verbal abuse, but you probably don't think as much about financial abuse. And that's a huge issue when we talk about domestic violence.
Absolutely, it is. It's a situation in which there may be a dominant spouse in the family, and it doesn't. I say spouse on purpose. It could be male or female that holds on to the purse strings inside a family, and really kind of has a controlling factor from that standpoint. You're going to do what I tell you to do, and if you don't, I'm going to kick you out. And you have no food, you have no money, you're helpless. And ultimately, that's the psychological aspect of that. And many people don't think about that. What hits the news is the beatings or the deaths, but there is a certain segment of our society in which individuals feel helpless because they've never learned those skills that are required for financial independence. And it is a critical aspect of what we're seeing in our society today.
Mm-hmm. And then, linking those two things together, whether it is, the physical abuse or emotional abuse, and we hear that, statistics about the number of times that people try to leave or they do leave and they come back. How does the financial aspect play into that? So I want to leave, but I may not have access to those finances or resources to be able to feel like I can. How do those two things link together?
They link together drastically. It's as an example, you may not be able to use a car because those car payments are being made by the spouse, and eventually that car is pulled. Same thing with the ability of the spouse. Maybe there's two credit cards, one for each spouse, but one of them has control over that credit card and can cancel the card. And really put the person in a position where there's nowhere they can go. They other than going back to wherever the spouse is, the abusing spouse is, and so really it's for us and for Family Haven, it's teaching these folks to learn the skills of maintaining a job, finding a job. Giving them the time that they need to develop those skills, and also provide some literacy education for them so that they understand the concept of maintaining a budget and understanding what are your expenses on a month-to-month basis, and are you putting enough money to the side so that you can maintain those expenses. But most of these folks are starting from zero, and they have no credit worthiness. They have no way of getting a credit card. And ultimately, many times, a lot of these folks, if it's a very abusive situation, they end up homeless and on the streets.
So, yes, definitely so glad that we have folks like you and the rest of the folks at Family Haven who are doing this kind of work. Tell us about Badge, though, because that's an opportunity for employees of Forsyth County to get involved, right, and lend a hand. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, so Badge is a great little program. It was established after we had an incident, probably I guess maybe 7-8 years ago, in which a gentleman went to the courthouse and had started a shooting incident right at the courthouse. There was a bomb scare, and a couple officers were shot in the process. And we realized fairly quickly that there wasn't a program in place to help support those deputies who put their lives on the line. The reality is our officers, no matter where they are in the metro Atlanta area, they are not paid enough for the risks that they put through, or the risks that they go through every day to keep all of us safe and to provide the services that we as a society need. And so Badge was established from that. A gentleman named Billy Howell and Brenda Howell, I think, were really the drivers of that. And we got another gentleman, Rusty Whitlow, in the community, and they really got that process started. The organization really started to plug into. Initially, it was the Forsyth County Sheriff's Department, but we've expanded the services we provide to any first responders in the county. And really the purpose of that is, these folks have families, they have kids, may have special medical needs, and the salaries that they're earning, it's a very difficult situation. So we try to go in, we try to help them out, help them with the struggles that they're going through financially, make sure that they're in a good place so that they can come out every day, do the job that we need them to do. And also support their families. These, on the salaries that they have, many times it's difficult to put their kids through college. So we offer a scholarship program for dependents of these first responders. And of course we go through a big process in which they have to show that they're really interested in expanding their knowledge and getting a higher education. And so we'll go out there and help them out and help those families with their kids.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it really is. So we have a lot of the times we're talking to nonprofits and we're talking about the work that they're doing, but we do like to plug into and highlight the business community and how they are connecting what they do every day in order to make our communities better. So you guys hosted a fundraiser back last October for Forsyth County Family Haven. So tell us a little bit about that, why you decided to do that, and then how the organization will be able to better serve the community because of your involvement.
Oh, certainly. It is an annual event that Family Haven has every year in October. We call it our Purple Purpose event. And really what it is to highlight the work that they do in the community. We want our contributors and the people that are the business leaders in the community to understand, hear the stories of the people that we go and we help, so that they understand. Many of the people that Family Haven provides services to are just like the people next door. It's an interesting thing about domestic violence. It doesn't focus itself on any particular demographic. Rich or poor, no matter whatever creed you are, it is a problem that sits in society, and so we certainly highlight one of our clients that we have in there. She tells us her story. Sometimes those people are now contributors of the organization. They've been able to get past that and put themselves into a better place and learn independence that's required. And so we highlight those folks, and it's also an opportunity for many folks in the community to contribute to the organization. We have a silent auction at the event, a fine dinner, and many dignitaries come out and you have someone come out and do a keynote speech related to the services we provide and the stories for the clients that have successfully overcome their challenges they've had with domestic violence.
Wow, sounds like a great event. So yeah, we'll be looking forward to that next October. But
absolutely.
So we've got about a minute left, and Chris, it would be really helpful, I think, to most people because this is tax time. So everybody's thinking about what do they need to get, what paperwork they need to get together, what's going to be different this year. Am I going to get a return? Am I not going to get a return? So, we're talking to nonprofits, and we always talk about you can give to nonprofits. You should definitely give to nonprofits. They rely on many times the generosity and support of the community. What should tax filers be reporting on? What should they be thinking about when they have been giving to an organization over the years as it comes to tax time?
Certainly, there's two different types of contributions that can be made. One is through property, and if you are giving property, certainly it's whatever the market value of the property is. Sometimes that could just be household items, and you're giving that to maybe Goodwill or some other local charity that's out there. And sometimes those items you want to make sure you're giving a good value for those items. But other times you may be giving something of significance, like a car or even artwork. And so anything that would be in excess of $500, you certainly want to ask that question from your tax advisor as to whether or not, do I need to get an appraisal for this? That can be very important to make sure you're properly valuing what's being given. And that can be a little bit difficult, particularly if you're giving away collectible items, and you usually have to have some sort of coordination from the charitable organization as it relates to that. Of course, the other way to give is through cash, and so you don't have those valuation issues that you're concerned with. I think one of the biggest challenges for people nowadays is, and I got to give credit to folks that do continue to give, because the tax laws are a little bit different now. You have a higher standard deduction on your tax returns, and so that creates a higher threshold for you to get deductibility on many of those charitable contributions. And so a lot of times we'll, from a purely a tax saving standpoint, we'll advise our clients to clump their charitable contributions together in a particular year. If you're going to clean house and give a lot of household items away, you collect those things together, give a large amount at one time in one specific fiscal year, so you can take full tax advantage of that. But certainly those are the areas we look at. Now, other things you can look at doing for those that are financially able to do that, look at some of these donor-advised funds, these community foundations that are out there. That allows you to give a lot of money towards charitable causes, but they don't necessarily are given in that all at one time, and you have the opportunity to let those charitable funds grow, especially in a stock market which has been growing over the last year. You have an opportunity to be able to give the money to various charitable organizations every year, all the time. Yet you get your tax deduction when you initially give that money to the donor advised fund.
Okay. Well, Chris, all great tips. We thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for your work and volunteering with all of those organizations. They're doing some great work, so appreciate you.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I enjoy every bit of it.
Absolutely.
Very gratifying.
You're listening to The Good Work Show.
To learn more about the show and how your company can tell their story, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter @Good Work Show.